Laila. Trevor Redmond is a man who was willing to walk across Canada and back again to raise funds for cancer research. The mainstream media completely ignored his story, but he has a very good sense of what Canadians think and what Canadians feel. Trevor, do you have a question for Laila or a comment?
I don't think I have a question, but boy, I can sure agree with a lot of the things she's saying. I think a mayor has to have full accountability for his actions. He's there to lead, and leaders they have followers. Are we saying it's okay to kick somebody in the ribs and walk away from it and expect no no accountability for his actions? Like come on. Then on the other side of it, I'm thinking about one of our mayors of the past here who went on to be our premier of the province, Ralph Klein, who was notably drank a lot.
That's true.
And I don't know if that interfered with his government or whatnot, but I think a lot of people gave Ralph Klein a lot of credit for running the government he did. On the other hand, we were in a boom. He got a lot of credit for a boom that took off and is still taking over. I think we're supposed to get about a $5 billion surplus this year. So, that our politician here, he's going to get all the credit. Stelmach there, he's going to get all the credit in the world for this. I don't know if he's necessarily responsible.
No, exactly
but
right.
As a mayor, you're definitely responsible for your actions and where you're going to lead the people you're representing. I don't want to see riots in the street with people kicking each other in the ribs there in Coquitlam there.
That's true. Laila, do you have a response or a comment on that?
Well, I think it's a very good point that he brought up too, and I mean it speaks to a deeper problem within society currently that I blog about, and it really relates to a lot of different topics. Look at the youth justice system right now. It's
Yes.
a disaster, and now they're saying that youth under a certain age can't be held accountable because they don't know what they're doing. They're too young. Well, you got to look back further. I mean, everything. It's like a giant food chain, if you want to call it that. You can compare it to it. These kids are having no accountability. They're out there doing all this stuff. Why is that? Let's go look at the parents. And while maybe not every parent is a bad parent, there's a lot. I mean, in my neighborhood, holy Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you see some of the kids walking around here, 13-year-olds looking like hookers. We've got all the 10-year-old boys looking like pimps. They're idolizing these.
It's ridiculous.
Cultures. It's all about accountability, and what Trevor said about leaders. We're looking to these people as leaders.
Yeah.
And where you have a leader, you do have followers. You do have people who want to emulate that example.
That's true.
To be like that. And in fact, if you look at career coaches and personal coaches. Some of them will tell you, one of the best pieces of advice that I got, in trying to develop a career, in radio or media or writing, was find an example of a successful person that you admire and emulate their qualities. What do they do? Are they good listeners? Do they take the time to say hi? Are they polite? It's the little things.
Yeah, no, I think you're
exactly. You can relate that to the same subject. If you have a leader like Scott Young and he's going around beating on people and acting all psycho or whatever, who's going to be following that? Who's going to be following that? And kids read the newspapers. Kids are smart. Kids are talking about the Scott Young Port Coquitlam thing.
Speaking of these kids, I've got one of these 15-year-old kids in the chat room tonight. Very smart kid. I like him a lot, actually. He's one of the frequent visitors to our show. But he made a comment that I think it's probably going to make you mad, but I don't care. It'll be good radio. He basically said that the only reason this is an issue at all, and get ready for this, okay? Remember, it's not my words. The only reason this is an issue at all is because Colleen Preston is a woman.
I'm sorry, but 15, you got to have a little bit of life experience. Now, I am a mother of teenagers. I have a daughter who's 16. She's going to be 17. I have a son who's turning 15 in a couple months. And I know the mindset. My children are very educated. They're very globally aware about what's going on in the world. I don't shelter them from reality of things that are going on. I think it's better to be educated, and I think it's better to inform your kids so that they can make informed decisions. It's interesting that you have a 15-year-old in your chat room. I think that that's great that he's showing the initiative to be.
Yeah, he's a great kid.
But involved in this, I think, yeah, and I wish that more kids were like that. That being said, it's not the issue that she's just a woman, and yet it's all of the issue. What a lot of people are saying I've heard is that this is not a case of domestic assault because she actually broke up the relationship, and that they had such a, as Emmett Brown, is that his name? Emmett?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
That he had inferred several times that, they had a rocky relationship, they were on again, off again, so it sort of gave Scott Young the wrong picture, and I kind of got the idea that he was sort of, in a roundabout way, saying that, maybe it was Colleen's fault. Well, you know what? How is it Colleen's fault that somebody gets it all twisted up in their head that it's okay to start acting like this? So for him to say, for this fellow in the chat room to say that, it's only an issue because she's a woman, that's almost a bit of an alarming statement, to be honest, I find.
Jeff, do you have a response to that, being that you were the one that made this comment? Not that I don't understand what you're saying. A lot of people might think that if Scott Young had punched the other guy in the parking lot, that'd be one thing. The response here, Laila, is it's a bigger issue because she is a woman. Had it been a drinking buddy, had a falling out, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. Almost true, because there was the Glenn Shaw incident. He did click Glenn Shaw, Colleen's current boyfriend, in the ribs while he was doing sit-ups. So he did actually attack him first, but he was there for Colleen. So I guess there's a bit of an issue. But if Scott Young had just punched out some guy in the parking lot for taking his parking space, would anyone even care?
I think they would. Would you? I personally still wouldn't find that acceptable in the world of being a mayor.
Would you demand his resignation if he punched someone in the face for stealing his parking spot?
No. Oh, would I? Sorry, yes, I would. Yeah.
Okay, you would.
I would, because you don't go around. Once again, it goes back to leading by example. You think it's okay to go around punching people? That's how you deal with your anger? I don't want someone like that not representing me. There's other ways to deal with your anger, and I'll tell you something. One thing I learned being on CKNW and opening up the phone lines is there's a lot of angry people out there.
Yes, there are.
That's how you deal with it. You deal with it with words. If he had gone over, this is, much bigger than that because she's just a woman. This has everything to do with his actions. And I actually heard from Colleen Preston today on my website, her comment is up there, and I appreciated her feedback, especially because she made a big point. She has kept herself above all of this.
That's true, actually, and she's avoided media interviews all along here, and you're the only person she's been talking to.
So this just popped up today. I don't know if she was googling, Scott Young to see what was going on out there, or whatever. But she thanks me. I won't read her whole statement. But
of course.
She thanks me for having a voice for some people, and that she has not said anything staged. She has kept out of it, and which is a classy way to go things, because you could go around saying, no, she's just a little fluff bunny fitness trainer, or she's picky poo, whatever, but she's not. She's a woman, and there's a story behind there, and you know what? Maybe we haven't heard everything Scott has said, but this guy, the 15-year-old here, if he's, what is he condoning? I understand what he's saying, that maybe this wouldn't be an issue if this was a drinking buddy.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the issue here that really happened. And you can say that it's, the same thing or that it's different, whatever approach he wants to take. But this, it wasn't just the assault. It wasn't just the slap. It wasn't what he did to, her friend. It was all of the behavior that led up to that. It was the fact that he knew that there was a restraining order on him, and he still breached that. He knew that something was going to happen if he, failed to follow the conditions that he was given. Did that stop him? No. Did that stop him from doing anything, all of those other charges? I question why those other charges were even, what sort of bargain happened there?
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation about that. I guess as a final question to you, Laila, on this issue, are you going to continue to follow the Scott Young story, and what's your next play?
Oh, definitely I'm going to be following Scott Young. I can pretty much tell you, I know how it's going to end. Defense is going to come in for the pre-sentencing, and they're going to say, let's see, what did I even put on my article here? This is what we're going to have. Mayor Scott Young is an upstanding citizen, served his community well. Many letters of character will be brought forth from friends and colleagues alike. His tragic past concerning his daughter and his alcohol abuse will be touched on, with the statement added that he sought help on his own to deal with it, blah, blah, blah. And the defense will probably top it all off with the assertion that it was a heat-of-the-moment crime, not premeditated. The good mayor has learned his lesson and apologizes to the victim and the community with deep regret and contrition for all of us. So noble, so bloody gosh darn noble of him. No jail time and probably a conditional sentence.